Hello and welcome to Marketplace Africa. We cover the biggest economic trends impacting the continent. I'm Zain Asher. Now, sourcing medical equipment across Africa is often a complicated and cost-prohibitive undertaking. So when the need for medical ventilators in South Africa arose in early 2020, the best solution was homegrown. CNN Zelani Jokos heads to Durban to take a look at the ingenuity of the South African manufacturers who jumped into action.
Welcome to the archives of medical equipment.
This has to be the messiest archives I have ever seen.
No. This is what you call organized chaos.
Stored in this dusty garage in the outskirts of Durban lies an idea that could potentially save thousands of lives in South Africa. An idea dreamt up by the South African Ventilator Emergency Project, known as SAVE-P, has since become a huge mandate for its founders. The goal? Produce 30,000 ventilators locally as quickly as possible.
We came to the conclusion that we only had 3,800 ventilators in the entire country. That's in the private and the public sector. And clearly, in the scope of what was happening globally, that wasn't enough.
And then you thought, listen, I need to get into the making of ventilators.
Exactly. And we said, listen, there's no way that the world is going to sell ventilators to us. There's no way we can afford to buy ventilators because they're prohibitively expensive. The only way to do it is to actually make ventilators.
Veteran ventilator technician Robin Whittle has helped reverse engineer an old Penlon Nuffield 200, a British ventilator first made in the 1980s. The final product is an all-mechanical, easy-to-use ventilator for non-invasive respiratory therapy for COVID-19 patients, made completely in South Africa.
When Justin called you and said, listen, this is what I need, these are the specs, did you immediately know what you were looking for in this chaotic, should I say, rather hidden treasure, garage of hidden treasures?
We scratched a while and we dug and we dusted off. We wanted where we can use it out in the field, we can use it in the bush, we can use it anywhere. I hate seeing things go to the rubbish dump that can be used. So yes, hoarding, but for a good reason.
Just in case
I need it. And guess what? We needed it.
It was just what we needed. It was a war piece of machinery, right? That is robust, entirely made of metal and ferrous and non-ferrous parts, and actually quite simple to use. But it was a full-blown ventilator. If you put it into context, we've made in excess of 2,000 ventilators, CPAP units. These highly technical medical units, which combine medical air and oxygen, typically sell for 3 times what we sold them for in the marketplace. So we were able to really give the South African people a device at a price commercially which made it really quite exceptional.
Enter automotive firm MCR, Dowclay Products and Thistledown manufacturers, all private sector companies that have sourced and contributed to making the 500 tiny components inside 7 sub-assemblies in each one of these CPAP units.
It took our whole team at MCR, as well as everyone else that was involved, serious hours of work to make the drawings, to create this device. We were in the pursuit of a perfect device. We weren't exactly sure what it needs to be perfect, but we didn't stop. We wanted as maximum flow rate as possible. We wanted as accurate on the oxygen concentration as possible. And we didn't stop until we achieved that.
Justin sort of said to me, right, will you take on this whole project and run with it, and that's what I did. And he gave me this part and he said, can we make it? And I said, look, let me do it. I dissected it, pulled it to pieces. It looked rather complicated, and I said, well, look, I'll give it a go. And so that's how it started.
We've produced 2,000 so far of the ventilator parts. There's 2,000 produced, and hopefully going forward, I'm not too sure what's happening going forward, but hopefully there'll be more.
So what was it like working with an auto manufacturer and asking them to pivot away from producing OEMs for cars?
The automotive sector has the right DNA. When we started looking at the documentation that we have for the automotive industry and what you require for the medical industry, the two are almost identical. The mindset to transition a safety critical automotive person or company into a medical arena was actually very, very small. That was fantastic.
I just believe that we know for a fact now that we can actually manufacture products here that don't actually have to be imported. We manufacture our own stuff for various parts and that if we need and we can't buy them, we will manufacture them ourselves.
Up next, we take a look at how AI technology is playing a role in generating alternative energy.
The Profit Point, in association with Dowclay.
Welcome back. As companies worldwide continue to focus on expanding sustainability practices, some alternative energy companies are hoping this trend leads to new opportunities. CNN Zeleny Joko sat down with South African energy company Arcelik, Viren Gosai, to talk about the innovations powering the industry forward.
We have a beautiful earth, but it's limited. What is unlimited for now is our gorgeous sunshine that we have. And this is why South Africa and Africa has that advantage globally. Hi, I'm Viren Gosai. I'm the General Manager of Arcelik based in Durban, South Africa. Arcelik was established in 2010 by two gentlemen that we consider visionaries and pioneers in the renewable energy sector. One of them being Patrick Goss, the other Ishu Sivnarayan. They felt they needed to leave some kind of legacy to South Africa. They looked at what would the future hold for South Africa and which industry should they pursue this vision. And that's when they decided to embark on this project and set up a renewable energy facility here in Durban. So obviously the renewable energy sector is perceived as being green, but the carbon footprint of raw materials leaving our shores, getting processed elsewhere, coming back is far higher than people ever cared to imagine. The glass on a PV module weighs 19.5 kilograms. The entire PV panel weighs over 20 kilograms. So can you imagine that the raw material is available in South Africa? It leaves our shores, it comes back as completed glass. A pallet of glass weighs 1 ton. A ship contains many pallets of glass. So yes, this is renewable technology, but we really need to start making it here. We need to get the entire value chain here, which is what we're trying to do. For example, when we get packaging, it's recycled material. So we try and ensure that the raw material that's not critical is actually recycled. And obviously the critical raw material is pure virgin material. So Arcelik, since its inception, has always tried to be a leader, if I could call it that. The art in Arcelik actually means African renewable technologies. So we pride ourselves with that. Initially when Arcelik started, we produced OEM for Bosch in Germany, which is something unheard of. You would generally hear about the Germans producing for South Africans, but we as South Africans manufactured for Germany in their brand. So that's really a feather in our cap, and this was 10 years ago already. So it's along the same lines that we progressed, grew, evolved our line. This entire facility is run by artificial intelligence. It's basically a tracking software that directs the operators into the next step. You as a consumer may buy a product. That product has full traceability from a raw material to a finished product. Further to that, this line is quite unique, it's bespoke. Every single aspect of our line is there for a purpose. For example, we have a Yaskawa robot. A lot of people use it for various applications. All we do with it is lay the silicone. It's all it does. And yet that's an advanced robot that's able to cut an apple faster than a samurai. There's a lot of poor quality that's entering our country, which impacts everybody in the industry. Because you remember Joe Soap down the road that's purchasing the cheapest PV panels he can acquire and install it in somebody's home or business. All he knows is that it works for now, and that's great. So that's a pitfall in our industry that impacts everybody. I mean, if you look at every single country abroad that has closed their doors to manufacturing, what happened next, right? They become totally reliant on the imported product, and then of course the price goes up. And as we've seen with lockdown that happened recently, ports were closed. Everything was closed. We were literally an island to ourselves. We need to make our products here. We need to make product in South Africa and buy local. We've got to keep up with the global technology that's out there. Whilst we do have very advanced machinery, we are increasing our capacity also. Our 5-year plan is actually just to create a lot of education in the environment that we are active in, right? Both in terms of our employees and our customer base and the public as a whole.
That does it for us here on Marketplace Africa. Remember, you can head to our website for the latest stories and keep up with us on social media as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zain Asher. I'll see you next time in the Marketplace.
The Profit Point, in association with Dowclay.